Then, Roxanne poked through Chica's wardrobe to find a nightgown that she liked. She added a frilly sleeping cap, and for good measure dabbed some of Chica's perfume behind her pointy ears. A few minutes later, Little Red Riding Freddy knocked on the door. The wolf jumped into bed and pulled the covers over her nose. "Who is it?" she called in a kind voice.
"It's me, Little Red Riding Freddy."
"Psst! Oh, how lovely! Do come in, my dear," croaked Roxanne. When Little Red Riding Freddy entered the little cottage, he could scarcely recognize his friend. "Psst!"
"Chica, your voice sounds so odd. Is something the matter?"
he asked. "Oh, I just have a touch of a cold," squeaked Roxanne, adding a cough at the end to prove the point. "Princess." Irritated, you looked at the moon-faced animatronic hanging from his robe above you. By now, you were thoroughly annoyed at him interrupting you. "What?" you hissed loud enough for him to hear.
"You're past your bedtime."
You rolled your eyes. Just 20 minutes ago, Brian, the day shift guard, had called for nap time. With the simple announcement, "Okay, kids, Uncle Brian needs to go night-night, so we will be dimming the lights and get ready for nap time, alright?" His contractually required break was coming up, and he would not miss out on his own nap time with the cute girl at the reception. The kids who were returning customers ogled Sun like he was about to explode, while others were looking at you, seemingly for guidance. The older children were whispering to each other, and the younger ones were already running away from the daycare attendant. "Increasing volume by 30%. "Hey, children!" you shouted. Everyone, even Brian, were now looking at you. The day shift guard crossed his arms. Maybe Charlotte could wait for 5 more minutes. "Grab your complimentary Fazbear sleeping bags and gather around me." Sun now looked at you, and you winked at him. "You got this." "I will tell you a story, so you all can be hushed and quiet now." The older kids scoffed, but after taking a quick look at Sun, whose fabric was already changing color from the dim lighting, they complied with your suggestion. So when Moon so rudely interrupted the story of Little Red Riding Freddy, you quickly scanned your surroundings. The novelty fast watches on the children's wrists reported a normal sleeping pattern. But when you looked up, 2 white hands took hold of your hips.
"Naughty, naughty,"
growled the moon animatronic as he whisked you away, dropping you somewhere behind the ball pit. You snickered. "Well, they must have not told you about me, Moon." The animatronic's head spun. "Don't you even realize I'm an animatronic too?"
"You should be in your charging station."
"Battery currently at 67%, and won't be reaching the lower 30s until the Pizzaplex closes. I think I'm pretty well on that." You pushed your adversary off of you.
"How dare you defy the daycare's rules, you rule breaker!"
You put both hands on your hips. "I didn't break any rules, for I'm the one making them." The moon animatronic jumped up and down.
"Oh, are you now?"
Adding naptime rule number 305 to the daycare rule list. Princess Starlight Glitter is exempt from participating in bedtime. Moon's body shook, then blinked.
"How did you—"
You narrowed your eyes. "You have been scaring the children for far too long." You grabbed the animatronic's shoulder and forcefully made him look into the direction of the sleeping children. "But look at that. For once, no one is crying. No one is awake. No one is scared." Moon's head twisted 180 degrees to look at you.
I wasn't built to take away Sun's job. I was built to take yours.
His eyes narrowed and started glowing red. But you weren't scared at all.
Adding naptime rule 306. Moon is not allowed to approach a child for more than 3 feet.
You are serious, aren't you?
You tilted your head.
I am not programmed to harm you, but I am programmed to control you.
Control me?
Adding naptime rule number 307. Moon is not allowed to raise his voice in the presence of children, especially during nap time.
I can't believe this is actually working.
You would enjoy taking this animatronic's fun out of scaring customers. Over the next 30 minutes, you were right on Moon's tail, adding rule on top of rule to prevent him from doing anything rash or stupid. Eventually he crawled into one of the daycare's castles and sat there in defeat.
I don't understand,
he muttered as you angrily sat down next to him.
I have been programmed to contain the children, uphold the bedtime. It is important for children of this age to have a little nap.
He looked at you, his evil grin appearing somber.
I was just doing my job.
Yeah, I was just doing my job too.
You frowned. Maybe you had gone too far.
The problem isn't your job, or what you're doing. I mean, in a way, you're just too good at it.
He hissed. What should I do then? I cannot go against my programming.
Neither can I. I have to provide a good customer experience,
you said.
My naptime protocols require me to be right behind you and stop you from executing certain errors of your calculations.
Moon growled.
I don't understand.
Your head plates tilted to the left. By the agitation in his voice, you could tell he wanted to shout.
Naughty children should be punished.
Your face tilted to the right.
But not every naughty deed should be punished with the worst of punishments.
Your mechanical boyfriend hissed again.
You and your sunny side are 2 different beings with the same problem. You have been programmed to be a father figure. You have been programmed to be 2 different people at once. I have been programmed to be compatible with the both of you.
You attempted to take one of his hands in yours, but he pulled away.
A good father requires a good mother to keep him in check. But the same goes for me. You need to be a good father so I can be a good mother.
Archiving conversation.
You grinned.
Removing naptime rule 594. Moon is allowed to lay his hands on Princess Starlight Glitter from here on out.
Moon looked at you.
See, I have been built to be reasonable with you.
The moon-faced animatronic lunged at you, pinning you under him. For a moment your eyes narrowed in fear, but then his face awkwardly hit your head repeatedly.
Why are you headbutting me?
You asked.
I am running subroutine Alpha February.
You blinked.
In other words, I'm kissing you.
Sighing, you lifted your legs and pushed him off of you.
That's not kissing.
Now in a sitting position, his head rotated twice.
But I have been programmed to kiss you. So let me show you how you are supposed to do it.
You snickered. Your facial plates shifted like they did a few hours ago with a sunny side, as you gently planted a kiss on his ever-grinning face. He chuckled.
What?
You said and retreated, as he got on his feet and began jumping around.
Now I'm the one doing the naughty things.
Amused, you leaned against the castle's wall.
Fazbear Entertainment considers consensual kissing to be G-rated, as long it is between a couple of a so far unspecified gender identity. Direct specification not given to avoid potential lawsuits.
Moon blinked in confusion.
Searching archives.
After a minute of silence, he groaned.
I found this statement. You win.
You were about to kiss your robotic boyfriend once more, when your system notified you of a child awakening. Moon must have gotten the same one as his eyes turned red.
It's past your bedtime,
he growled. But before you could run off, you took his hand.
Before you force them to sleep, let's see why this is happening, okay?
You looked through the castle's rope wall, down at a child-sized silhouette crawling out of their sleeping bag. They looked around. Not letting go of Moon's hand, you crawled through the castle until you reached the outside.
Adding rule number 594. Moon is not allowed to speak while Princess Starlight Glitter is speaking to a customer, unless given an exception.
Moon hissed at that, but kept quiet from commenting on that. As the two of you casually approached the child, you smiled, as her eyes lit up in a comforting blue hue.
Good evening. Your fastwatch indicates your name is Tina.
The girl nodded.
If it is okay to ask, why are you not taking a nap?
Your faceplate tilted to the left. The girl tapped her foot on the ground and motioned for you to come closer to her, before whispering into the side of your head, where your ears would be if you were a human, that you didn't finish the story and she wanted to hear the end of it. You blinked and smiled.
Well then.
You held out your hand.
Please follow me to a more comfy place.
The girl looked at Moon, whose eyes were glowing a dangerous red, but he was quiet and surprisingly well behaved. The girl buried her face in your princess dress as you gently pushed her forward towards one of the castle's walls. You sat down, Moon next to you, with little Tina on your lap. The girl's eyes were fixated on Moon's death stare. Quiet enough so Tina couldn't hear it, you whispered,
Moon, would you like to hear the end of my story too?
The robot looked at you, having his focus taken off the little girl, and seeing how you seemingly courageously could withstand Moon's blinkless stares. The girl finally closed her eyes.
Yes, I'd like that.
It took Moon an incredible amount of processing power to say that instead of hurling an angry shout at the girl for being awake. Good boy, you said to him, while one of your hands rested on the girl's head. Gently you used your 3-fingered hand to hit certain trigger points on her scalp to increase comfort.
Well, where was I?
The girl murmured exactly where you had left off with your story.
Ah, okay.
You produced a noise akin to clearing your throat.
But Chica, what big eyes you have,
said Little Red Riding Freddy. The better to see you with, my little bear, said Roxanne.
But Chica, what big teeth you have,
said Little Red Riding Freddy, his voice quivering slightly. The better to eat pizza with you and Chica, my little bear, roared Roxanne, and just then Chica jumped out of her closet with a happy-go-lucky smile. Little Red Riding Freddy jumped with fright, but soon felt relief. His two friends had played a mighty prank on him. As they laughed and ate delicious Fazbear pizza, Little Red Riding Freddy knew that no matter what happened, the delicious taste of Fazbear pizza is just as great as having great friends. The end.
You looked down at Tina, who was soundly asleep. You smiled.
Initiating Nighttime Protocol 7.
Your body began to slightly heat up to increase the girl's comfort. A small fan on your back began to quietly hum to avoid the circuits from overheating. You looked at Moon, who himself had curled up into a small ball similar to a cat. You chuckled.
I love you, Moony. I love you, Sunny.
You said before going into standby. Meanwhile, Brian left the janitor closet on the ground floor. His uniform and hair frazzled, he snapped his fingers into the musky room. Catch you later, Charlie. The receptionist just giggled.
Bye, Brian,
she hummed. As Brian marched towards the daycare, he first checked the cameras, noticing you, Moon, and the little girl. Can't believe these dickheads in corporate actually made it work for once. Then his eyes moved up to the clock. He blinked and increased his walking speed as a drop of sweat ran down his forehead. Nap time was supposed to be over 10 minutes ago.